Welcome again to this success series. Are you poor because you don't have money? Or you don't have money because you're poor? How you answer that question determines the size of your bank account. And if you are poor, there's a high possibility that you're Christian. Because Muslims, when it comes to Islam, when it comes to Jews, unfortunately, most of them have a very positive relationship with money. It's only Christians that associate poverty with spirituality. But God wants us to be rich. And to make sure that we're rich, He has given us a formula. And this is given in Genesis chapter 1, verse 28. We are told, number one, the first thing that we're told here is we have to be fruitful. God asks us to be fruitful. He does not say be seedful, because choice of words is where the meaning is. A fruit is a byproduct of a seed. A fruit is a living organism. A fruit comes from a seed. So it means the seed has to be somewhere. Where is that seed? Why is God commanding us to be fruitful? And He hasn't given us the seed. The seed cannot be fruitful until it is deeply buried, planted, watered, gets sunshine, taken care of, then it becomes a fruit. So the first commandment, Genesis 1:28, we're told to be fruitful. The second thing here is we're being asked to multiply. A seed is one. And then out of that one seed, you have so many fruits. They always say that any man can count the number of seeds in a fruit, but only God can count the number of fruits in a seed. So out of this fruit, you are asked to multiply. And then we are asked here to replenish. We are asked here to replenish and then subdue. We live in a world where the richest people are not Christians. We've never known a world where the people with the resources are people that love God. How do you think, how will the world be if the richest people in the world were all God-loving? Now, I've always grown on the philosophy of success, theology. But one thing that I've realized is most of these success philosophies, they cut out God. How about for the first time, we bring God back into the CEO of our businesses, God into the main actor in our own lives, and then stick to His principles. Now, He has given us this, and then He's told us if we do this formula, straight away we'll get dominion. Now, God wants us to dominate. Dominion is a kingdom word, because it is a dominion. You cannot dominate. You cannot dominate until you are king, okay? You cannot dominate until you are king, you have a kingdom. But for you to dominate, you have to have this. We have to look at what does He say before all of this? So He says, first thing we are told here, God says, be fruitful. Then He says, do multiply. And then He says, have dominion. Now, this is where the whole formula of success is. And that's why I keep on repeating that we have to stick to Genesis if we want to create our lives. Genesis is the foundation of the whole Bible. Genesis is the foundation of Jesus. Genesis is the foundation of Christianity. And we as black people, unfortunately, we're still at the bottom of this world economic system because we do not understand how God created the whole world. So let's take a step back. Let's forget all the new theology. Let's forget about the New Testament. Let's take that one book. Let's own Genesis. And remember, when I'm talking about Genesis, I'm not talking about Levi jeans. I'm talking about Genesis, genes, the beginning. He says, be fruitful. The key word here is be. You have to become that person first. If I want to lose weight, if I want to make money, If I want to be a loving husband, if I want to be the best father in the world, I have to become that person first, which means I have to become that person mentally. For me to lose weight, I have to become that person mentally. For me to be a loving husband, I have to become that person mentally. I have to start thinking from the end to the beginning. I have to finish before I start. I have to have a blueprint of who I'm trying to become. I have to have a blueprint of what I'm trying to build. I have to have a vision, a picture of what kind of body that I'm trying to build. I have to have a vision for my family. Where do I want my family to end? When they get there, how will I know that I've accomplished God's command in my life? And that's where B comes in, the power of imagination. My dog here cannot imagine. He was born a dog and he will die a dog, but I've never seen him try to become anything else. It is only us human beings, and especially us black men, that do not try to become who God intended us to be. We become what everybody else calls us. So from the power of imagination, I need you to be. And then to multiply, you have to do. This is action. You cannot just pray. You cannot just transform your mind. You cannot just imagine. You cannot just think and not use your hands. You cannot do or become anything until you take action. God will only bless you if you take the first step. You have to take the first step before God takes the 1,000 steps. You have to do something. You have to go out there, till the land, and God will bring the rain. You have to pray, and then you have to go do something in your business for God to bless. Most of us, unfortunately, we are busy asking God for blessings, but we have no vision. God sits there and asks you, what do you want me to bless? You're constantly asking me to bless. Give me something to bless. This is where your vision comes in. B, you have to take the time. Write a blueprint. You have to have schematics. Be like a proper builder that has to build that house on paper first before the structure comes to life. And then you have to start taking action. And then have. This is automatic. Now, most of us forget that you only have it in the end. That's becoming these things, and this becomes the byproduct. Most of us are not following the structure. Most of us are not following the same system, the same formula, the same format, the same blueprint that God is used and is written as for us. That's why it is the first book in the Bible. So in case you're a lazy reader, in case you don't like reading, he says if you can only read Genesis, then you have everything you need to be successful in life. Be, do, have. You cannot have dominion until you're fruitful. Now, if you look at the most successful businesses in the world, look at Microsoft, look at McDonald's. These are principles. Now, principle, you don't have to be a Christian. A principle is no respect of individuals. A principle is a predetermined way of doing things that has an assured, ready-made outcome. So if you become fruitful, like any other business, you cannot become fruitful until you know what your seed is. Just like the parable of the talent, most of us are so busy looking at what everybody else has. Just like the servant that was given 1 lakh, and when the boss came back, he said, I buried it because I was afraid of losing it. Afraid of losing it, and you're a very hard man, I buried it here. The master took it. He gave it to the other 2 that had doubled their investment, and he called this other guy, he called him wicked. That's how we're going to feel if you don't find the one thing that is in you. God won't give you everything, but he will always give you something according to your ability. Just like the master, the rich man went away. He gave each a talent based on their ability. You have to find out what your talent is. And then you have to water your seed. By watering your seed, automatically you're going to multiply. Here, McDonald's. How many hamburgers did McDonald's make the first day? They made only 1 hamburger. Only 1 hamburger. But for them to start dominating the world, they had to look for a way to make sure that they're going to multiply those hamburgers. They created a system of how do we make this one hamburger in one go. We make 1 million hamburgers. McDonald's, they sell up to 1 million hamburgers in South Africa a day. How do they that? They had to create a system. You have to create a system of making sure that whatever fruit that you have can reach as many people as possible. And then replenish. How does McDonald's replenish? They've got warehouses everywhere. They've got warehouses everywhere. They've got places where they store all these things, whatever it is. You'll never go to McDonald's and find it closed to tell you we ran out of chips. They'll never tell you we ran out of burger patties, we ran out of bread, nothing, because they replenish and then subdue. McDonald's doesn't really care whether next door is Burger King or Steers. They don't really care. You have to become so good at what you do, you intimidate your opponents, you intimidate your competitors, you drown your competitors, and by doing that, automatically you become dominion. So we as men, if we want to dominate, God has given us a formula that we constantly have to keep on following. Which of these areas are you struggling with? Which of these areas are you strong with? And what is stopping you from dominating your life? We were born to dominate, but not to dominate others, to dominate your area of calling. Find it and let's run this world.